A year ago, Gi-hun stepped into the Squid Games, a nightmarish competition where the desperate and indebted risked everything for a shot at unimaginable wealth. Victory came his way, but the price was steep. Countless lives lost in the blood-soaked battle for survival. Now, at the airport, Gi-hun prepares to fly to the USA to reunite with his daughter, but his plans change when he spots another desperate man being lured into the same horrific game. Determined to stop the masterminds behind it, Gi-hun decides to stay and take them down. Soon after, Gi-hun gets a call from the frontman, the ominous figure overseeing the games, warning him of the consequences of his decision. Ignoring the threat, Gi-hun returns to Seoul. At a store, he purchases a knife and later discovers a tracker embedded behind his ear. Without hesitation, he removes it, ready to face what lies ahead. Detective Jun-ho wakes up in a hospital, disoriented and unaware of his surroundings. A year ago, he had infiltrated the Squid Games to find his brother, In-ho, only to discover that In-ho was the front man. Their confrontation ended with In-ho shooting Jun-ho and letting him fall off a cliff, believing him dead. Miraculously, Jun-ho was rescued by a passing ship and taken to the hospital, where he has been in a coma ever since. 2 years later, Jun-ho has resumed work as a traffic officer, though his career took a hit. Losing his phone and all evidence of the games when it sank into the ocean, he faced severe consequences for his unexplained disappearance. Thanks to his boss's intervention, he avoided being fired, but was demoted. In his spare time, Jun-ho works with Captain Park, the man who saved him, tirelessly searching the surrounding islands to uncover the games and the people behind them. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is holed up in a motel, surrounded by security cameras. One night, he dreams of the frontman standing at his door holding 2 human heads, but it's only a nightmare. Later, he meets a loan shark, Mr. Kim, and his assistant, Woo-suk, whom he hired to track down the man recruiting new players for the games. Despite their efforts, they found nothing, so Gi-hun offers extra money to hire more people, with a generous reward for whoever finds him. Kim and Woo-suk launch an operation recruiting gangsters and combing every subway station. They share all the clues they have, checking any man who even remotely fits the description. Still, there's no progress, and Woo-suk begins to doubt if the story is true. One evening, while taking a break, the duo spots the recruiter playing a slapping game and handing out invitations to Myung-gi. As the recruiter leaves, Kim and Woo-suk follow him, calling Gi-hun with the news. Meanwhile, Myung-gi ignores a call from his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Jun-hee, who is at a clinic but cancels her appointment after receiving her own invitation to the games. The recruiter soon heads to a park, offering tramps a choice between a bread roll or a scratch card. Only one chooses the bread, and none of the scratch cards have prizes. Afterward, the recruiter discards the bread and stomps on it, blaming the tramps for wasting food. Kim and Woo-suk record the entire scene and send it to Gi-hun. Downtown, Gi-hun is speeding when he's pulled over by the police. A rookie officer takes his personal details before issuing a ticket, but when Jun-ho notices Gi-hun's name on the partner's screen, he recognizes it from the games. He quickly searches the name in the system and finds an address linked to a car rental company. At the park, the recruiter leaves, and Kim and Woo-suk follow him into an alley to catch him. However, the recruiter is too fast and easily overpowers them. Moments later, Gi-hun arrives to find only blood and a knife, but no sign of the men. Meanwhile, the recruiter has taken Kim and Woo-suk to a luxurious room, tying them up. He forces them to play rock, paper, scissors, with the loser facing Russian roulette. In the early rounds, nothing happens because there's only one bullet in the gun, making it unlikely to fire. But as the game progresses, the recruiter adds a bullet each turn. Eventually, Mr. Kim is shot in the head. Terrified, Woo-suk agrees to talk. Later that evening, Jun-ho breaks into the office where Kim organized the operation and finds paperwork linking to the motel address. When Gi-hun returns, the recruiter is waiting. He reveals that he once started as a low-level worker in the games, tasked with removing dead bodies and punishing misbehaving players. One day, he was forced to kill a player who turned out to be his own father. Without hesitation, the recruiter announces that they'll now play Russian roulette. The gun changes hands repeatedly with no effect for several rounds, but eventually, the bullet hits the recruiter and he dies instantly. Gi-hun checks his pockets and finds a black envelope. Just then, Jun-ho bursts into the hotel, finding Woo-suk in a random room. After freeing him, Jun-ho continues searching and locates Gi-hun. As he's about to arrest him, Woo-suk knocks Jun-ho out with a fire extinguisher. Gi-hun opens the card from the envelope, revealing a message about Club HDH and the date, October 1st at midnight. When Jun-ho regains consciousness, he and Gi-hun share their findings and agree to team up to bring down the games. Woo-suk, seeking revenge for Kim, wants to join them too. Gi-hun shows them the money he won and the weapons he's gathered. they discover a hole in the wall leading to a back room where they can practice shooting without being heard. Meanwhile, at an amusement park, No-yeol sleeps in her car. A cop warns her that she can't continue doing this and that it must be the last time. The next day, she starts her shift as a park mascot and is so kind to the children that a girl gifts her a drawing. After work, she takes the little money she earned to a broker, hoping to rescue her daughter from North Korea. However, the broker has already tried to find her daughter with no success and tells her there's nothing more he can do. That night, a new recruiter hands No-yeol an invitation to the games. The next day, she quits her job and calls the number on the card to accept the invitation. Afterward, she burns both the card and the drawing the child gave her. As part of the plan, Gi-hun has a tooth removed and replaced with a fake one containing a tracker. He also hires a group of thugs who train with the weapons in the hidden room. Later, Gi-hun calls his daughter but can't bring himself to speak. He simply listens to her voice before hanging up. When the day arrives, the club is full of Halloween revelers. Gi-hun and Woo-suk search the club while Jun-ho keeps watch outside. He spots two people wearing the guard uniforms from the games and follows them inside, threatening the bouncer to gain access. Unfortunately, he's too late. One guard tases Woo-suk to knock him out, while the other forces Gi-hun to leave the club. Jun-ho finds Woo-suk unconscious and notices on the tracker that Gi-hun is leaving, so he warns the hired thugs. Gi-hun is escorted to a limo, and the thugs begin following in their cars. The frontman speaks to Gi-hun through a speaker, refusing to stop the game, as Gi-hun asks. He explains that the game will continue as long as the system keeps ruining people's lives. When they reach an empty street, hidden snipers fire at the thugs' cars, disabling them. Gi-hun notices this and shoots inside the limo, but the glass is bulletproof. Determined to stick to the plan, Gi-hun has no choice but to volunteer to participate in the games again. He's soon knocked out by sleeping gas. At the docks, 3 trucks load up more people, including No-yeol. However, she isn't chosen to be a player. She's assigned to be one of the guards. The next morning, Jun-ho and Woo-suk board Park's ship with the thugs to track Gi-hun's signal. On the island, Gi-hun wakes up in the Squid Game facility, surrounded by new players. He's wearing the game uniform, with a number just like last time. The guards explain the rules. The players will stay for 6 days, and those who win all 6 games will receive a massive cash prize. Myung-gi interrupts, asking about his phone, so the guards play a video showing that he was once a YouTuber. His career ended after he promoted a new crypto coin, leading to massive financial losses and making him a wanted man for fraud. Other players also voice their complaints, and the video reveals their massive debts for each person who spoke up. Suddenly, a giant piggy bank appears on the ceiling, and the accumulated money from the games will fill it until it reaches billions. After each game, the players will vote on whether to continue or stop. If the majority votes to stop, everyone can leave with the money they've earned. The guards are interrupted when Young-soo discovers that his mother, Jung-jae, is also a player. However, the games don't care about age. The next step is to sign the consent forms. After Myung-gi finishes, he's approached by Nam-gyu and rapper Thanos, who also lost money in the crypto scam. Myung-gi remains unremorseful, and Thanos becomes aggressive. Nam-gyu intervenes to prevent things from escalating further. When it's Gi-hun's turn to sign the consent forms, he reads the rest of the rules. Players can't quit, and those who refuse to play will be eliminated. The only way to stop the games is during the voting ceremony. Afterward, the players have their photos taken before being sent out to the first game. Gi-hun is shocked to find his old friend Jung-jae among the players and urges him to stay close. Meanwhile, Jun-ho and his team follow the tracker to the island where they deploy a drone to search for the facility. The island appears deserted, except for a fisherman. They surround him and find the tracker among his belongings, confirming the game. People removed it from Gi-hun's mouth when he was gassed. The players are soon taken to a yard where a giant doll stands waiting. Gi-hun is concerned when his friends don't appear, and when he removes his dental implant, he realizes the tracker is gone, meaning he has no choice but to play. The first game is red light, green light. Players must reach the other end of the yard in 5 minutes, but they can only move when the doll says green light. If the doll says red light, everyone must stay still. Those who move will be eliminated. Gi-hun tries to warn everyone that eliminated means literally killed, but no one believes him. The game begins, and the frontman, In-ho, watches from his private room. Determined to help the others, Gi-hun shouts instructions, guiding the group to move when they can and freeze when necessary, allowing them to progress without trouble. However, when Thanos distracts a woman by telling her there's a bee on her neck, she panics, moves, and is instantly shot. the beef flies away, causing another player to move and get shot as well. The chaos causes many players to panic and attempt to flee, prompting No-eul to start shooting them from her guard spot. Gi-hun continues yelling at everyone to stay still, but many players are lost. Now that they believe him, Gi-hun explains that the doll detects movement through sensors and suggests they hide behind bigger players when moving. Meanwhile, Thanos uses the opportunity to sneak some illegal candy from his necklace. Following Gi-hun's instructions, the group progresses well. Although No-eul shoots a woman for trembling, Thanos intentionally pushes 3 players, and they're killed as a result. After several more rounds and many deaths, half the group finally crosses the finish line. One of the shot players is still alive, so Gi-hun returns to help him, but No-eul breaks the rules and kills him once he crosses the line. Back in the shared room, the players are informed about the deaths, and some beg for their lives. Gi-hun reminds them that they can vote to end the game. The guards fill the piggy bank with the money accumulated so far, though it's not much when divided among so many players. The voting begins, with players pressing a button before receiving a sticker representing their choice. Seeing many people vote to stay, Gi-hun tries to warn them about the next games, leading to an argument. In the heat of the moment, Gi-hun admits he's played before. Thanos sees this as an advantage, believing Gi-hun can help everyone survive. The guards intervene, forcing everyone to finish voting. The votes end in a tie, and only one player remains. He votes to stay, and as half the group celebrates, it's revealed that the last player is In-ho, who has secretly joined the game. Later, during dinner, the players ask Gi-hun for tips on the next game. He tells them it's Dalgona, where they have to carve a piece of candy without breaking it. Some players want to keep the information for themselves to gain an advantage, but Gi-hun promises he'll help everyone equally. In-ho keeps questioning Gi-hun about why he returned, unable to understand altruism. Meanwhile, Jung-jae shares her food with Jun-ho. Noticing she's pregnant, Thanos and Nam-gyu keep bothering Myung-gi until he snaps and starts a fight. In-ho tries to intervene and calm them down. When Thanos and Nam-gyu turn on him instead, In-ho shows his strength, easily overpowering them both, earning the respect of everyone. Later, In-ho confides in Gi-hun that his pregnant wife is very sick and he needs money for her treatment, prompting Gi-hun to feel pity for him. In the facility labs, the guards are struggling to harvest organs from the dead players. Many are unsalvageable due to being shot a second time, which wasn't supposed to happen. They realize No-eul is responsible, so she's summoned to see the officer, who's overseeing operations while In-ho is in the game. The officer, who met No-eul 7 years ago when she was a rebel in North Korea, had hired her for the games in exchange for finding her child. He yells at her for breaking the rules, but No-eul simply walks away, unconcerned. In Seoul, Jun-ho tries to get help from the police, but they still refuse to take action without solid evidence. He tells Woo-seok and the thugs to keep searching the islands, but Park insists they'll have to wait due to bad weather. The next day, Thanos continues to secretly take his candy. Jun-ho approaches Myung-gi to tell him she's keeping the baby, going against their previous agreement. The argument is cut short when the second game is announced, but it's not Dalgona as Gi-hun predicted. The players are taken to the yard and asked to split into teams of 5. Distrusted by most, Gi-hun ends up on a team with In-ho, Jung-bae, Dae-ho, and Jun-ho. The game is called the Six-Legged Pentathlon, where each team will have their legs tied together. They must play a minigame every 10 meters, and if they win, they can move to the next game. There are 5 games in total, and they have 5 minutes to complete them. The teams choose which player will take part in each game, and the guards tie their ankles together. As the first 2 teams begin playing, the remaining teams observe to learn strategies. Dae-ho watches carefully and practices with stones from the ground. When a team fails at a game, they're allowed to start over, but it eats up valuable time, making them more anxious and prone to mistakes. Meanwhile, Nam-gyu asks Thanos to share his candy, distracted from the task at hand. When the first round ends, both teams fail to finish the games, and all 10 players are shot on the spot. More guards arrive to collect the bodies in coffins, but No-eul makes sure to shoot them again to ensure they are dead. The next team to play is Gyumja's. Young-mi, very nervous, struggles to win the first game, but is calmed by Hyunju, allowing her to succeed. Young-sik misses the first rock throw, but nails the second one. Gyumja plays with small pieces and makes a small mistake, but quickly recovers with support from her son, winning the round. The crowd cheers for them, but the fifth team member becomes too nervous seeing the blood on the ground and struggles to get the spinning top ready. Hyunju slaps her a couple of times and threatens her until she focuses, managing to use the top correctly. Finally, Hyunju kicks the pom-pom 5 times, succeeding on her first try, and the team wins the challenge just in time. As the games continue, teams have varying degrees of success. Most, including Thanos' team, pass, but a few fail and are killed, resulting in blood all over the place. The final 2 teams are some random players and Gi-hun's team. Jun-ho wins her game on the first try, and Jung-jae successfully completes the rock toss on his first try as well. Thanks to his practice, Dae-ho is also successful without missing. However, In-ho struggles with the spinning top and begins to panic, so Gi-hun steps in to calm him down. With Gi-hun's support, In-ho finally manages to win the game. With only a few seconds left, Gi-hun kicks the pom-pom and nearly misses, but In-ho helps him move, and they finish the challenge just in time. The other team fails and is killed. When the players return to the room, Hyunju shares her need for money to pay for her transition surgery. The atmosphere is tense, especially when Gi-hun makes it through. His team decides to properly introduce themselves, with In-ho using a fake name. Meanwhile, 2 guards drag No-el into her room and scold her for ruining the bodies. She tries to defend herself, but they're armed with a knife and overpower her, cutting her cheek as a warning. If she touches the bodies again, they will cut off her fingers. Afterward, the guards visit the players' room to add money to the piggy bank and announce that players have died, so the group has shrunk. It's time to vote again, and Gi-hun's team, including In-ho, decides to stop. However, Young-sik ignores his mother's pleas and votes to continue. The vote is tied, and In-ho tries to persuade the others to stop. But an old man argues the money isn't enough and chants one more game, gaining support. In the end, staying in the game wins. During dinner, Young-sik admits to his mother that he has more debt than she knows, leaving her disappointed. Gi-hun's team is upset with Jung-bae for voting to stay, but they keep him around and give extra food to Jun-ho for the baby. In the bathroom, Thanos' team harasses Myung-gi for choosing to leave, but when a fight seems imminent, In-ho steps in and Thanos retreats in fear. The mood is tense, and Gi-hun tells his team to sleep under the beds and take turns keeping watch in case of an attack. In the middle of the night, Gi-hun needs to use the bathroom and assures her son she has a knife hidden in her hair for protection. The guards prevent anyone from going in or out, but Gi-hun cries and begs until they allow her to go. The next morning, Jun-ho divides his team into 2 groups to search the nearby islands. At the facility, the players are taken to a carousel-like room for the 3rd game, called Mingle. The platform starts rotating, and when a number is called, players must form in groups of that choice and rush to a door within 30 seconds. The first number is 10, causing panic as players grab whoever is closest and rush to the doors. Once time runs out, the players who stay behind are immediately killed. The platform spins again, and the number called is 4. Players scramble, and the teams from the previous game are forced to break apart. Most manage to form groups, but one team only has 3 members. After time expires, both the remaining players and the incomplete team are shot. No EUL follows protocol and refrains from shooting the bodies multiple times. The next number is 3. The tension rises as people split, and Young-sik is dragged away by 2 men, leaving Gi-hun in a room with In-ho and Gi-hun. In-ho manipulates Gi-hun by asking questions about her son to plant doubt, but she defends him. After the eliminated players are killed, Gi-hun reunites with her son, embracing him tightly. The number for the next round is 6. Players quickly form teams, but in the rush, Young-mi is pushed off and left behind. Hyunju and Gi-hun are devastated by her death, and Hyunju accuses Myung-gi of closing the door, though he explains their team was full and saved their lives. In the final round, the number is 2. In-ho shoves a player aside to secure a spot with Jung-bae, but a 3rd person tries to enter. Without hesitation, In-ho kills the 3rd player to ensure the number is correct. The game ends with only the remaining players alive. Meanwhile, Jun-ho sends a drone from the ship to scan the surrounding islands, eventually spotting a hidden door beneath the bushes. The group heads there to investigate, but when they attempt to open it, a bomb goes off, sending them flying. While most of the group survives, one thug tragically dies and is sent back to the ship. Park suggests returning, but the group insists on continuing. Jun-ho, suspicious of a mole leaking information, starts implementing new rules to prevent further leaks. Back at the players' room, Myung-gi talks to Jun-ho, suggesting they should be together after the games, but she realizes he only wants the money when he mentions investments, leading her to turn him down. Meanwhile, Jung-bae counts the stickers and notices that more players want to stay in the game. Gi-hun plans to speak with them to change their minds, but In-ho warns him that bothering them could lead to anger and another fight, which they can't afford. Soon, the guards arrive, and the voting begins. As the votes are tied, the guards announce another round of voting the following day. During dinner, players from both sides gather according to their stickers to eat together, and arguments begin as each group tries to persuade the other to change their vote. In the chaos, Gi-hun notices his food includes a fork, which is odd because tonight's meal doesn't require one. Later, Thanos and Nam-gyu harass Min-soo in the bathroom, attempting to change his vote. Thanos escalates by insulting Jun-ho, which provokes Myung-gi into trying to punch him. The situation erupts into a full-blown fight, giving Min-soo the chance to escape. Thanos pushes Myung-gi to the ground and starts choking him, but Myung-gi retaliates by stabbing Thanos in the neck with the fork. The fight continues, with more players joining in and using the fork and broken mirror shards as weapons. Two guards hear the commotion but do nothing to intervene. Soon, 5 deaths are announced and the money is added to the piggy bank. When the fighters return, they begin accusing each other of instigating the violence to make the opposing team look bad. Amid the heated argument, they count the stickers and realize the group wanting to leave has gained more support. The tense atmosphere is interrupted when the guards order everyone to bed. Meanwhile, on the ship, one of the thugs catches Park tampering with the drone. Park quickly stabs him and throws the body into the water, covering his tracks by pretending the noise was caused by a wave hitting some boxes. As the guards prepare for a special game, Gi-hun fears the other team will launch an attack that night. In-ho suggests they should strike first, but Gi-hun disagrees, believing they should focus on taking down the people in charge rather than fighting each other. His plan is to wait for the chaos in the room to start and use the element of surprise to disarm the guards. Meanwhile, Nam-gyu steals Thanos' necklace and continues to take excessive amounts of happy candy. He also reveals he has the fork. Jun-ho feels sympathy for Myung-gi and advises him to hide when the fighting breaks out. When the lights go out, Gi-hun and his close friends hide under their beds, preparing for the inevitable attack. The other team strikes, and chaos erupts as people die in the darkness. Many can't even tell which side the victims are on, and it pains Gi-hun to watch without intervening. However, he believes that these sacrifices are necessary to prevent even more deaths in the future. Min-soo attempts to kill Nam-gyu by throwing glass at him, but his aim misses. Nam-gyu uses a shard to kill more players. Eventually, the lights are turned on, and the guards enter to stop the conflict. Gi-hun and his team play dead, and when the guards approach, they quickly grab their guns. The players open fire, killing half of the guards. The remaining guards take cover behind beds and return fire, but the tide begins to shift as the players continue to steal more weapons. Seeing the situation deteriorate, the officer orders the remaining guards to retreat and the door is locked. However, one guard is left behind and is taken hostage by the players. As the tension rises, one of the armed players suggests shooting all the people who attacked in the night, but Gi-hun intervenes, stopping the escalation. Meanwhile, Hyunju shoots out the security cameras, and Gi-hun, alongside Jung-bae, delivers a speech urging more people to join their cause to take down the higher-ups. Young-soo expresses his desire to join, but his mother prevents him, and Jun-ho gestures for Myung-gi to stay behind as well. Despite not having many volunteers, the group remains determined to go forward with their plan. They distribute the guns and radios, and Hyunju, who is a former Special Forces sergeant, takes the time to teach everyone how to operate the more advanced weapons. Afterward, they force the hostage to lead them to the admin office. On the way, they reach the colorful stairs, only to be ambushed by a group of soldiers who immediately open fire. A shootout ensues, but the team manages to take down all the guards swiftly. After destroying the cameras, they continue moving forward, scavenging bullets from the fallen soldiers as they go. Just before reaching the admin door, more guards appear and begin shooting again, tragically killing the hostage. The gunfight intensifies, and Gi-hun and Jung-bae decide to push ahead and search for the higher-ups while the rest of the team provides cover. They open every door in the corridor, only to find them all blocked. However, Gi-hun notices a sensor on the wall and, after donning a soldier mask, activates it, revealing a hidden passage. As they move through, they encounter more guards. Using the mask to deceive them, Gi-hun and Jung-bae continue their assault, but more guards soon pursue them, keeping the pressure on as they advance. In the main corridor, the team suffers casualties and runs low on ammunition. Gi-hun and Jung-jae call the rest of the team to inform them that they're stuck with soldiers, prompting In-ho and 2 others to rush to assist them. Meanwhile, Dae-ho volunteers to scavenge more bullets from the bodies of the fallen. Gi-hun takes a risky move and crawls toward the bodies to gather bullets, only getting grazed by a shot in the process. In-ho arrives with the 2 men and tells Gi-hun he's found an alternate entrance to the office, but needs them to distract the guards. Gi-hun agrees, handing over his last round of ammo, believing Dae-ho will soon bring more. In the room, Dae-ho and the others collect whatever ammo they can find from the dead bodies. However, when he hears the gunfire intensify, he panics, drops the radio, and decides to return to the room instead of continuing to help. Suspicious of the lack of radio communication, Hyunju decides to investigate. Meanwhile, In-ho kills the 2 men when they turn around, then calls Gi-hun, pretending that everyone has been shot. He uses the sounds of his dying teammates to fake his own death and orders his men to finish the mission. Back in the main room, Hyunju gathers the remaining ammo, but just as she's about to leave, a group of guards enters. Though she's ready to fight, Jung-jae convinces her to hide since she can't fight alone. In the corridor, one of the team members decides to end it all with his remaining bullet. The other 2 surrender, but the guards kill them anyway. Hearing this on the radio, Gi-hun and Jung-jae surrender as well. In-ho, now wearing the frontman mask, arrives and coldly tells Gi-hun that these are the consequences of trying to be a hero before executing Jung-jae with a shot to the head. Gi-hun, devastated by the loss of his friend, is forcibly restrained by the guards. Later, the remaining players are forced to participate in another round of red light, green light, this time with 2 dolls keeping watch. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.